Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to day 54 session. Today we are just going to discuss about two concepts. One is method overriding and operator overloading. First, let me just move on to method overriding. In the yesterday session, we have just discussed about the inheritance. That is, all members available in the parent class or by default available in the child class. And for your information, dear friends, if the child class does not satisfied with the parent class implementation, then the child class is allowed to redefine that method by extending additional functions in the child class, which is called the method overriding. When a child class method has the same name, same parameter and same return type as a method in its superclass, then the method in the child is said to be override the method in the parent class. So see here, if we are just having the same method in the parent and to the same here in the child 1, child 2, child 3. So these comes the exact example of the method that is overridden. Okay, let me just see it with an example, dear friends. See here, this is the class, base class vehicle we are just having, and here we are having a method that is max speed under base class. And when we are just deriving the child class car from the parent vehicle, and here also we are having the method max speed, and we create having these two classes named vehicle and the car. The class which the car extends from the class vehicle, so all properties of the parent are available in the child. In addition to that, the child class redefined the method max speed. It is redefined here. And see here, dear friends, let I just execute the output. See, even we just calling the created an object of the cars vehicle, that is the child class. And from the car object, when we just define, that is calling the method from the parent or to the child class, it is redefined and we just get the exact output. Okay, let me just move on to the next example. See here, dear friends, here we are just having a small change in the method, that is my method, and where we are just going to print the calling parent method and calling child method. And to the same here, C is the object that we are just going to create it from the child class, and when we just call on to the my method function, that is the method here, and it just overridden to just call the child class and not on to the parent class. And here is the output. Kindly have a note of it, that is calling child method. Yeah, again we in detailed, let me just see it with a detailed example of this with a parent and a child class with having so many methods. Yeah, fine. See here, dear friends, this is the bird, the first parent class, which is the base class. And when we derive a child class penguin from the base class bird, and under the bird, the base class, we are having a constructor. And who is this? That is one method, and second method as swim. And when we are just making the same constructor for the child class also, here also we are just having the same init method, and next who is this, and last one we just have the run. Okay, see here, dear friends, we are creating an object Peggy, and here we are creating it from the child class, which is the object of that child class penguin. And this Peggy, when I just call the who is this, okay, who is this, where it just goes, exactly it just goes to the child class. And next, what is the who is this? So here also it just comes for the penguin, and again it just goes for the swim. Yeah, here it just goes for the parent swim faster. And next, for run, yeah, it just goes for the run faster in the child. So wherever it is overridden, so here we can just make use of this functionality. And see here I have just two functionality that I want to just check with the method overriding function, that is subclass or is instant. And see here, dear friends, here when we just want to know for the both the things, yeah, subclass, yeah, penguin is a subclass of bird and Peggy is the instant of bird. So exactly, Peggy is instant of penguin, which is derived from the bird. That is the exact information that is also it is added to this example. Let I just execute this code and let me just see it. See here, dear friends, so just I scroll it above to see the output of how the exact, yeah, for is instant of Peggy is bird, yeah, exactly. Here we just got the true functions. Okay, dear friends, so this is an example. We are just going to see all the functionality under method overriding in Python. In the example of polygon and triangle, yesterday we have already discussed this. Okay, so anyhow, I just want to make some functionality added to this. And see here, dear friends, notice that the init method was defined in both the classes, that is the triangle as well as the polygon. When this happens, the method is derived class overrides that in the base class. So this is to say the init function, which we are just saying here, the init function which is in triangle get preference over the init function in polygon. See, generally when overriding a base method, we tend to extend the definition rather than simply replace it. So the same is being done by calling the method in base class from the one which is derived. And see here, dear friends, when on calling the polygon init function from the init, it would just overrides that in the triangle. Okay, so the better option would be to use the built-in function super function. Okay, and here when on, so we just use the super function, and see here, dear friends, it is equivalent to the polygon init function here, which we just specify in the triangle. And to learn this, actually we have already seen what is the super functions in the yesterday session, and today we are just going to discuss on to two built-in function, that is instant and is subclass. Okay, let me just see it with this example. And the function is instant, okay, would returns true if the object is an instant of class or other class derived from it. And each and every class in Python inherits from the base class object. Okay, let I just execute the polygon class and the another class which is the triangle, which is the child class that we have derived it from the polygon base class. Okay, now here instant has been initiated from the derived triangle, that is here we are just going to say that is a class triangle. Okay, so here I just create an initiate from the triangle class. Now I just want to check whether, yeah, whether the T is an instant of triangle or not. Let I execute this. Yeah, true, it is an instant of the triangle. Okay, anyhow, we know that the triangle is derived from the polygon, the base class, and want to check whether the T is an instant of polygon or not. No wonder it is a instant of polygon also, because the polygon is the base class for the T instantiation object. Okay, now I just want to know what is the exact uh, function which we just have, whether it is the instant, that is integer function. And I just want to know what is the T, and we have already just know how come we are just going to calculate the T. And see here whether int, the data object is in int. No, it is not an integer. Okay, fine. Let me just check whether it is an object. We just want to know whether T is an object or not. Exactly, T is an object of polygon, or if T is an object of triangle. Okay, similarly, is subclass is used to check for class inheritance. And see here, dear friends, is subclass. Yeah, polygon and triangle has been given. Whether polygon is subclass of triangle? No, it's not. It is actually, the polygon is the base class and the triangle is the child class. So how we have to say whether the triangle is subclass of polygon? Yes, exactly. See here, dear friends, it's so. And even though you can just check how about the boolean is an subclass of init. Exactly, it is true, because see here, when we just check with an integer, yeah, you can just say whether 0 and 1, it just comes under the boolean, and that would comes under the subclass of integer. Okay, next I just want to add up with a concept, method resolution order. That's in Python. See, in Python, method resolution order, which is short form of MRO, is the order by which Python looks for a method or attribute. First, the method or attribute is searched within a class, and then it follows the order we specified with inheritance. So this order is called the linearization of a class, and a set of rules is called MRO, that is method resolution order. See, dear friends, actually the MRO plays an essential role in multiple inheritance, as a single method may found in multiple parent classes. And here we are just given an example. In multiple inheritance, the search order, how it just be is, first it searches in the current parent class. If not available, then searches in the parent class specified while inheriting. That is from left to right. We can get the MRO of a class. For this purpose, we can use either the MRO attribute or the MRO method. Okay, see here, dear friends, I just have an example here. And here in this example, we create three classes: class A, class B, class C. And class B is inherited from class A, and class C is inherited from both B and A. When we create an object of the C class and calling the process method, Python looks for the process method in the current class in the C class itself. Then search for the parent class, namely B and A, because C class inheritance from B and A, that is C of this is B comma A, and always search in left to right manner. So here it just check for B first, and then it just move on to the A. That is how it happens. And see here, dear friends, let me just check for this output whether the is subclass of list and object. Here also you can just have that objects in a list. Yeah, it's true. And at last, the functions which we can just say whether the object which we are just having is a 5.5 is an instant of that object. Yeah, we can just say whether if it is derived from class A class B, or if we just do some multifunctionality, yeah, you can just say yeah, it's true. And how about this instant hello object? You can also create an object where you just specify it as an instant of that object. Yeah, here too it is executed as true. Okay, added to this, dear friends, kindly have a note in the multiple inheritance scenario. Any specified attribute is searched first in the current class. If not found, the search continues into parent class in depth first and left right fashions without searching the same class twice. So, in this exact example above, say of multi-derived class, the search order is first one, it is multi-derived, that is the class C, and it just goes for the base class 1 and base class 2 and to the top objects. So this order is also called linearization of multi-derived class, and the set of rules used to find this order, which we already said that method resolution order. And here, see here, dear friends, actually this method resolution order must prevent the local precedence order and also provide monotonicity. So it ensures that a class always appears before its parents. In class of multiple parents, the order is the same as tuples of base class. And here I just specify two things which it has to be added that. So see, if you just see this image, you are able to view the exact explanation. Okay, see here, MRO of a class can be viewed as uh, underscore, double underscore, MRO, double underscore, that is an attribute or an method. So here it is in the first line, it is an attribute, and the next one is the method. And the former returns a tuple while the later results here in the list. So that I have just specified in the line. And see here, dear friends, how this happens. So here when we just make use of that m, the object, so here it just makes a multi-inheritance. It just moves on to that of order in A, B and Z. So here if it is this m is directly connected with A, B and Z, so it is according to that. So but when here this A and B, it is derived from the X and Y respectively. And here the B, it is Y and Z respectively. Whereas all these three X, Y, Z's are objects. And see here, let me just demonstrate this MRO with an class definition. See here, dear friends. So here we are just having a class X, class Y, class Z, and this class, it is multiple inheritance, which is just from X and Y. And what about this B? Yeah, it is from Y and Z. And where in such case of M, it is B, comma A, comma Z. And how you just specify this m, yeah, let I just execute it and you just get it in a manner of a list. See, first it just goes for main m, okay, and where from the main m it is left to right. So first it just goes for B, yeah, here it is the B class, and next one it just A, yeah, here we are just having the A class, and next it's Z. And see here, that Z where it is one among the X, Y and Z, So here it is in the order of x, y, and then z, and last it is an exactly object of that function class. So here it is. So this is how, dear friends, you can just make use of that order, how you are able to make the functionality. Fine. Let me just move on to the next method, that is, sorry, next concept, that is method over, sorry, operator overloading. Operator overloading, see, actually, when it comes from Python operator, it just works for built-in classes. But the same operator behaves differently with different types. For an example, if we just take the positive operator, will perform arithmetic addition on two numbers, or it can just merge two lists, or it can merge, or it can concatenate two strings. So this feature in Python that allows the same operator to have different meaning according to the context, which is just called operator overloading. And see here, dear friends, for your information, Python operator overloading allows us to use mathematical, logical, and bitwise operator on Python objects. So what happened when we use them with objects of an user-defined class? So let us consider the following class which tries to stimulate a point in 2D coordination. And let me make use of this in a class. And see, here we are just having a point class, and inside that is the method, that is the constructor we are just having, and once on executing this operator overloading in an class function, and see here the p1 is the object, that is an object of the class point, which we are just having the two attributes 1 and 2, when on just making this to be an addition or any other possibilities. And the next we are just having the p2 as one more object, where that point we are having 2 comma 3, and these are the two exact x comma y point. And when we make use of this point to be overloaded, that is positive operator, it can be as I have already said, if it is two numbers, yeah, it can just make an addition of two numbers, or if we are just having a list of two, it can merge the two, both the two, or if it is a string of two, it would just mix the concatenation. But how about this class? Yeah, here I just on execution, we got an error. We can see that the type error was raised. Since Python don't know how to add 2-point object together. However, we can just achieve this task in Python through operator overloading. But first, let's go get a notation about this special function. What is this exact special function here is, see dear friends, the class functions that begins with a double underscore is all called special functions in Python. So these functions are not the typical functions that we define for a class. And the double underscore init function we defined above is one of them. It gets called every time we create a new object of the class. There are numerous other special functions in Python too. Okay, using this special function, we can make our class compatible with built-in function. And kindly have a note of this, dear friends. Here we are just having a point 2 comma 3. If I just want to print P1, what is there in P1? Let I just execute. See, P1 is an object. So the point object, instead of what we got exactly is, we can define a string. Actually, this is the exact coordination of the point object what we just got, but what we define is a string method to in our class that controls how the objects gets printed. Okay, let me just look how we can achieve this. And see here, dear friends, here I have just given you an example that how it going to come is when on just making the point initiation. Okay, so here if we just make use of this execution, here we just have a 2 comma 3. That is the exact point we have specified here in this previous example, and which it just turns out that this same method is invoked when we use the built-in function str or format. And here we are just having this function format. So the above example where we have executed, we just got an error as type error as which the point is an object. And here we just got the exact point to be. Okay, now let me just make the str of that point, that is a string of that point. Yeah, 2 comma 3, that's being in the string, and the same thing in the format 2. Fine. So when we use this str of p1 and format of p1, so Python internally calls the p1 dot str method, hence the name special function. Okay, now let's go back to the operator overloading. Here what we just have is a class book, and we have an self that is a double underscore init method, that is a constructor with an attribute of pages, self and pages, and one more method double in underscore with add. So here it is the special function. And see here, dear friends, here what we just going to do is create an object, that is b1 with the class book, and again one more object you have been initiated with the same class book, but we have the different values, that's true. Okay, fine. In this we operator overload, we overload the positive operator which is internally present, and the internally positive operator implemented by using the definition doubles underscore add with a special thing. So this method is known as the magic method. Yeah, exactly. It is the exact magic method, and let I just execute what it just would be. So here 150 added with 100. Yeah, here we just get the 250, the answer. Okay, let the same thing we just see it with one more example. Here we are just having the vector, and in that we are having one such method as double underscore str, and another was double underscore add method, where that would just get the values from the user, and it would just gives the returnation of summation of that value, two values. And so here when on just having the vector of 2 comma 10, and next one vector of 5 comma minus 2, which we are just going to create an object or an instantiation of to that of classes vector. And here when on just executing, we just get the output as 7 comma 8, where it is just adding 2 and 5 and 10 and minus 2. Here, see, actually to be true, that overloading the positive operator. See, to overload it, we will need to implement double underscore add function. This double underscore this add function. Okay, so that is the method which the function in the class. So with great power comes great responsibility. So we can do whatever we like inside this function only. So but it is more sensible to return a point object of the coordinator sum. Exactly. See here, how come we have just given in this example is here it is a point of function, that is the class, and we are just making the double underscore str with an special function of double underscore add, where it is just going to return the two functions methodology, and it just gives the output of x comma y, where that would be the point. And I just want to make it in a detailed in this example. Kindly have a look of this, dear friends. See, here point is a class. It actually happens is actually when on just making use of this P1 and P2, we are just going to observe the method to be overridden, okay, overloading. So here we are having a point as a class, and inside that we have two methods. One is double underscore str and double underscore add, that is add function, where the Python calls p1 dot add of p2. That is when we just make use of that, p1 is equal to point of 1 comma 2, and here it just move on to that add function, that is add method, and which it just in terms goes for the add format, and after this the addition operator is carried out the way we specified previously. And in Python there are different magic methods available to perform overloading operator. Anyhow, before going to that, I just execute this, dear friends, and check for the output, and see here when we just make use of 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 3, yeah, on addition of this attribute, and we just get 3 comma 5 as the resultant. And here I just want to add it with you that there are different magic methods available to perform overloading operators. Yes, dear friends, here it is the table just shows the magic method's name to overload the mathematical operator or assignment operator and relational operator in Python. That is what all here it just given. Okay, so here mathematical operator, assignment operator, relational operator, and last which we just specify the relational according to the bitwise 2, here it is given. And that's for all the day, dear friends. Kindly have a note of each and every concept. Do you have any doubts or anything, you can just let me know in the comment box. Thank you, dear friends. Have a nice